Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. Hopefully you've all had a smashing Sunday and a brilliant weekend. This is going to be another Cardano video. On Friday, we covered some colossal, in fact, probably the most exciting news I've heard for Cardano all year, and that was the introduction of a fiat one-to-one backed regulated stablecoin like Tether, but native to the Cardano ecosystem. This is being developed and tasked by emurgo. This is absolutely huge. We went through our reasons why we think this is huge. And this, of course, was announced at scotfest. But it wasn't the only thing to be announced at scotfest. And we want to get into, in this video, the other huge news that there was, and that has everything to do with Midnight. So we're going to explain what Midnight is in this video. Really just also get it across to people why it's so necessary to have a blockchain that isn't public. Because if you think about a company that may want to, you know, build on top of the blockchain, they don't want all their competitors knowing exactly what they're doing. It just isn't good practice or good business to give away your kind of positions to your opposition. Also, from a personal level, not a corporate or a company level, do we really want all of our transactions, everything that we've ever bought on the likes of Amazon or on the internet or anything we've ever searched to be public and transparent? I think that privacy is a fundamental human right that was gifted to, or should have been gifted to, all of us at birth. And these are two reasons why the likes of Midnight is so significant. And the fact that it is to do with Cardano, you know, I run a stake pool, and I may be able to actually partake in validating the Midnight blockchain and, of course, getting the dust rewards for me and my delegators. So if you guys are looking to stake your Cardano, you can definitely stake with me. In fact, it would be greatly appreciated. All in is the name of the stake pool. We're not going anywhere. So let's get into it, guys. Let's not waste any more time. I thought the best place to start would be with the actual announcement of Midnight. And we'll only play a short clip of this for anybody that's interested in scotfest, the event that took place in Edinburgh for Cardano. I will leave a link to the not only Charles Hoskinson's keynotes, but the full scotfest. Well worth a watch. I've watched it all and watched some bits multiple times. But let's just start off with the announcement, and then let's dive into what Midnight actually is, and why it is so important, and why it was actually built in the first place. So let's go ahead and play the clip.
There we go. Okay. So what if I told you that we've been working on another cryptocurrency? Yeah. And what if I told you you already have it? Well, are you going to get it? Oh, okay, you're interested. We have this thing called Midnight.
Also, I just want to stop there very quickly. He said you already have it or you're going to get it. So does this mean that Cardano holders will be gifted the dust token that is accompanied with the Midnight blockchain just for being Cardano holders? Bit of speculation there, guys, but don't take my word for it. Just me speculating on what perhaps Charles meant there.
Now, I was in Malta. I'll never forget it. We were in Malta, and I was eating at this lovely Sicilian restaurant, and I loved it so much I ate there 3 times. The third time I got food poisoning, but the second time it was great. And we were talking about the need for privacy, and we looked at Monero and Zcash and all these other things, and we're like, oh, fuck those guys. We could do so much better. And we're like, yeah. And I said, wouldn't it be cool if, you know, we started working on this? And we said, yeah, okay. So we'd been drinking a little bit. And so we said to ourselves, you know, if it still makes sense when we're sober, we're going to do this. So then later on I went to Israel for Eurocrypt, and ironically we were drunk there too. But we talked about it and it still made sense. We said we need to have a privacy coin. We need to have something that has privacy built at the core. But we had no idea what the hell that meant. So I said, okay, let's just hire a lot of really brilliant people. So we got a zero knowledge expert, Markov, and all these other people. And we just started writing papers. We wrote Sonics and Kachina and all this other stuff. And we talked a lot about what would be required to have 3 properties, things that we think are human rights, which the blockchain space is not covering right now. And they're collectively called ACE. freedom of association, freedom of commerce, and freedom of expression.
And we are going to dive into those in just a second. This kind of ACE principle, freedom of association, freedom of commerce, and freedom of expression. This is why Midnight is relevant. But let's just dive into a little bit about what Midnight actually is. So, designed for developers, built for humanity. Midnight will be a data protected based blockchain that safeguards sensitive commercial and personal data, protecting fundamental freedom of association, commerce, and expression for developers, companies, and individuals. Midnight will enable developers to quickly build and deploy data protection first dApps using many programming languages, starting with TypeScript, whilst companies will be able to share mission critical information without the fear of leaks or censorship. Individuals will be able to safely share their sensitive information when operating in a connected world. So this is huge. You know, one, it's not really a problem that we have because there's lots and lots of benefits to a blockchain being public, and you know, we can all go and look at what's being sent where. We just don't know the identity behind the wallets. But if you had a big company and you wanted to use blockchain, but you didn't want to use Ethereum because it would be quite obvious to anybody that spent a little bit of time looking into it who you were in terms of who your wallet address was, and they'd be able to monitor all your transactions and speculate based on that. So the need for a private blockchain is really crucial, I believe, and fundamental to the sort of commercial world's adoption. Also, it's massive for a sovereign individual as well to have those kind of rights to not be able to share or not have to inherently share the data that they're generating. So where they're sending, what they're buying, who they're interacting with. You know, do we really want this on show for everybody? And the thing is with Midnight is, and Monero had sort of clapped back at Cardano and said, look, you know, there's a backdoor in it. It's not really a privacy stablecoin. It's not a truly private stablecoin, as essentially there is built into it a way that you can share that information. So if a regulator came knocking, you would be able to go, okay, you're a regulator. We want to operate in your jurisdiction. Here you are. Here's the transactions, but it's not public. You have to agree to share it, so to speak. So the data is logged. It's just not inherently public. You essentially have the right to withhold it, and then if you're operating in a regulated jurisdiction, and the regulations in that jurisdiction are that, you know, we need to see what you're doing for tax reasons, for money laundering reasons, whatever it is, then you can and you do have the ability to share it. Whereas something like Monero or Zcash, they are really, you know, that's their sort of sole principle, is being a privacy coin. You know, so there's no option to share the transactions, and Monero kind of clapped back at Cardano for this. However, I don't think Midnight ever said that there was no way of people being able to trace the transactions. They came out and marketed it as, look, this is regulatory friendly. You are going to have to be, as a blockchain, regulatory friendly. I've been following Monero since I've been in crypto. It was one of my first loves in terms of a cryptocurrency, because obviously I got into the blockchain space through very much, I think, libertarian ideologies. And Monero really, you know, appealed to me. From an investment point of view, it's not done too well for me. It's not done too badly. But they've had a hell of a lot of issue, and they've been hindered consistently and sort of blacklisted because of this, you know, completely private, nobody can track it, anonymous properties that it has. So Midnight obviously doesn't want to go down that same route. It is a Cardano sidechain, but is its own blockchain. There is going to be overlay with the stake pools, which is something I'm very excited about, hopefully getting involved with it. Something I'd love to do. Let's just go into a little bit about why they built Midnight, and then we'll really leave it there, guys. I don't really want to read this whole article. I'm sure you guys get the kind of gist of it all, but this is really significant news that I think is largely overlooked. So let's just zoom in a little bit, guys. Okay, wrong way. So What do we have here? Why we built Midnight. These freedoms guide Midnight's philosophy and the use cases. So they mention this sort of concept of ACE, freedom of association, collaborate through open rules agreed upon by your community or consortium. What I'm talking about is your jurisdiction. Decentralized autonomous organization, so a DAO potentially. Freedom of commerce, exchange value in a confidential and a regulatory friendly way without centralized gatekeepers. And then you have freedom of expression, which is candidly share your ideas with a global ecosystem without fear of censorship. So this is the kind of decentralized media and of course decentralized marketplace for commerce. This is going to be really, really exciting. And I'm super excited. I'd mentioned how is the token going to be distributed? Is there going to be a sort of private sale, a public sale, an ICO, if you will? I don't think they're going to go down that route. I think they'll actually just gift tokens to Cardano holders. Although I don't know that, by the way, guys. That's not concrete. You know, that hasn't been official. But I think, you know, there's obviously a lot of scrutiny over ICOs and stuff like that, and it's a regulatory nightmare. I think one way they might get around that is they'll just basically gift it to Cardano holders and do sort of like a mass airdrop, if you will, and really kick this blockchain off via that. And that's certainly going to be very, very interesting. Maybe they'll do it through, you know, an added bonus on pools, or who knows how that'll work. But it's certainly something I am definitely looking forward to. And this is really just the start. You know, one thing that I've continued to reiterate with Cardano is I'm excited about where it is now, but I'm even more excited about where I think it's going in the next 5 years. You know, Midnight is just one side chain. What about when we get Hydra or Mithril or any of the others or Marlow? You know, this is a blockchain, I've always said this, that deserves to be where it is in terms of position. It deserves to be in the top 10 cryptocurrencies. And in my opinion, you know, if they do things the right way, which I think they are doing, and it continues to prove itself, we've seen, you know, the fallout of FTX, and of course Solana was very much damaged as a result of this. Cardano is going to be unstoppable, ladies and gentlemen. I think potentially one day may end up at that $1 trillion market cap. Bitcoin has proved to us that a coin can get there. You know, we ultimately understand that we're in a bear market. We still actually have lower prices to come for Cardano, in my opinion. But this is really setting up the opportunity of a lifetime that you guys are going to be on that ride with me for. So if you've enjoyed the content, guys, a like is always appreciated. So is a comment. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already. If you're looking for a pool to delegate to, guys, that's going to be long-lasting and continue to play a role in the Cardano community, you can go ahead and state with my pool, which is ALLIN is the ticker. Would be muchly appreciated. There'll be a link in the description. See you in the next YouTube video, guys. Have a wonderful Sunday.